From the hills of West Virginia to the high rises of Chicago. For over 30 years, Dan Frio has mastered the real estate market as one of the country's premier mortgage advisors. Dan is now sharing his experience and knowledge with the AM 560 audience. So sit back and learn how Dan has helped his clients manage the ups and downs of the real estate market across the country. Now, here's the host of the Mortgage Update, Dan Frio.
Welcome back to the Mortgage Update with Dan Frio. I, of course, am Dan Frio. This version now is YouTube podcast exclusive. Me and Jay Noble. Jay's a part of the Frio team at Parkside Lending. What we want to talk about today is the questions, and I'm going to try to do this every week so we can post it on YouTube, our frequently asked questions of the week or scenarios of the week. Because I'm guarantee you the person that called and left this or gave us this scenario, there's thousands of people out there in that scenario. Yeah. There's thousands. Here's the thing that, and you got some of these calls this week. We had a YouTube video that went out, and it was a bank statement program. I think the day that you got that those aired, I know we got 5 applications. Yeah. In regards to bank statements. One of the scenarios I had was, and I don't know if I told you about this one. They own an ice cream store down in Sarasota, Florida. I don't think I heard that one. And they bring in like $600,000 in income. A lot of that's pushed through to their personal bank accounts and thus. Right. They write off everything. Cars, credit cards, which they can because 90% of that is business use anyways. So their adjusted gross income isn't much at all. Right. But they're like, we deposit $50,000 a month. That's a program that we have availability to do. We have a bank statement program that will allow us to use business bank statements or personal bank statements. So that is a program that we have that went nuts this past week. We probably got 5 or 6 applications. Yeah, you got the one from, what did the guy do? It was Tuesday during the week. I remember. He wanted to buy a house. And he had, he owned his own... It's $400,000 purchase he was trying to do. He owned his own business. I forget the actual business. It might have been landscaping or something like that. And then he had, again, they have a lot of expenses due to that. And then by the time you depreciate trucks and all that other stuff, your adjusted gross income isn't much. So if you have a business out there and you want to try to see if we can get you qualified under the bank statement program, give us a call. Yeah. The best way to get us is 844-775-LOAN, which is 5626. Leases only. I have 2 of these right now, believe it or not. I don't know if I told you about these. No, either. I don't think so. I have a pastor actually in Chicago. He has a brother that was trying to refinance, and he has a rental property. But on his taxes, I forget the whole scenario, but the best way to qualify them, because their debt ratio is kind of high, you can qualify an investment property off of the debt servicing of the property. Here's what I mean by that. If the rent covers the mortgage payment, you can get that loan done. There's other criteria, credit scores and credit ratings and such. I had you can do scenario. That. So that's one I didn't even realize until I worked on this thing for about 2 months. Then all of a sudden I'm like, man, we got this lease program. And that's why I try to inform myself as well as the whole team that when you call in, we turn over every rock we can to get you done. You might have had somebody this week, I think you did, that had a high debt ratio. And they're like, well, we called this place. The place must not have been able to do FHA because you got them pre-approved. And they were like, the debt ratio. Explain what a debt ratio is and then how, conventional only can go to 50. FHA can go to like 55, 56. What's the debt ratio and how were you able to help kind of that client?
Debt ratio basically is we take all of your debts that are on credit plus your proposed mortgage payment in accordance to your gross income. Now, people always want to ask what's your gross income as opposed to the net. The net is what your check is for when you get your check in your bank account or when they deposit it to your account or you get it in the mail. That's what your net check is. The gross amount is the amount that the total check was for. And that's the number that we use when we're qualifying you, not the net number, which is typically the lower of the two numbers.
Yeah. So what happens many times is On conventional financing, you can only go to 50% of that ratio. So again, you take all the credit on your credit report. If you need to get that, we created a website called Credit Scores. It's plural, creditscoresandmore.com. Go there. Click step 1. It's 100% free. Doesn't cost. There is no gimmicks. If it does that, it won't ask you for your credit card. But if it asks you to upgrade your services, click no. I don't want you spending a penny. But just go on there and it'll give you all the creditors you have. So take the monthly debts that are there, add your mortgage payment or your proposed mortgage payment, divide it by your gross income. That gives you that. So here's what happens so conventional financing, that's the normal mortgages, they'll go to 50% of what that debt ratio thing is. Yep. FHA will go to 55. There are things such as what we call in the business overlays.
Yes.
Okay. What an overlay is FHA says in the guidelines, basically, you can go to technically a 57% debt ratio. Okay. However, you might say, Dan, I called Chase. I'm making this up. It's a hypothetical. And Chase said the maximum we can do on an FHA loan, you don't fit because your debt ratio is over 50%. Well, you just said, well, Jay and Dan, you both said you can go to 55 or 57.
Yep.
Yes, we did. However, an overlay is basically that bank, that lender, that entity overlaying tighter guidelines on top of the generic guidelines. Here's an analogy. The government comes out and says you can drive 70 miles an hour anywhere you want through the whole country. Illinois comes in and steps in and says, nope. In Illinois, you're driving 55. You go any higher, we're giving you a ticket. So the state of Illinois placed an overlay on that speed limit. So think of it that way. So yes, you can get a 57 up to a 57 debt ratio. With me, we have no overlays. That's why we do a lot of business. People will call and say, I know you can't help me, but I figured I would try. You told me don't fear.
Right.
So to call, and now I'm calling in my debt. I got turned down because my debt ratio is over 50%. We're going to say...
Most companies aren't even, first of all, going to even explain that to you. So we want to take the time to even explain to you what this stuff is, because most people have no idea what we're talking about until we explain it to them. But,
and that's why we do the show. It's just to explain to people, this is the truth. I get so many, and thanks for everybody watching the YouTubes. I get so many thank yous just saying, dude, thanks for being straight. Yeah. Thanks for telling us as it is. Thanks for giving us in plain English what the heck you guys are talking about.
I spoke to a woman yesterday that called in, and she's, at the end of the conversation, she's like, I just felt like a huge weight off my shoulders. And I'm like, I'm a mortgage guy. I'm not a counselor, but at the end of the day, if I can help in any way,
but you are.
That's what I want to do.
I mean, you really are. We know more about this than hopefully, especially our team.
Oh yeah,
than 99% of the loan officers out there.
I agree.
And we take the time to listen.
Yeah.
If more salespeople would shut their mouths and listen.
People like to hear themselves talk in this industry.
Yeah. So just listen to what are they asking for? Where do they need help? Where are they seeking counsel?
Yeah.
And then fill in the blanks. Yeah. Don't tell them your scenario.
Right.
That's not the point of the whole thing. So
I didn't want to get off topic, but I had to mention that.
So I know you have a credit hack of the day. We try to do a credit hack, and I forgot to do it on the radio show today, but we try to give you what we call a credit hack is just a little quick informational tidbit to help you with your credit scores. So what's our hack of the day?
Don't close accounts even when you pay them off. I repeat, do not close your accounts even when you pay them off. You ask yourself the question, why? Utilization rate. Utilization rate, what that basically is
so the utilization rate is this. You take let's say you open this happens a lot. Yeah. Somebody gets their first credit card. I just closed a loan for actually a friend of mine who did this. I pulled his credit and I'm like, dude, your credit scores are terrible.
Yeah.
But you've never missed a payment in your whole life. So I dissect his credit, and every account is like $200. Every account. He pays everything like a shot.
Yeah.
Well, dude, how easy is it to spend $200? You go to Costco.
20 minutes.
Yeah. So you walk out of Costco and your Costco card now is maxed.
Yeah.
You fill up your gas tank with the truck you drive.
$70
and you're
night.
maxed. Yeah. So he had like 6 accounts all for $200. Yeah. And everyone was like $150 to $200. So I said, let's do this. Call every one of these creditors, or at least 3 or 4. Yeah. Ask them, because your credit's phenomenal.
Right.
So he called 3 of them. They increased his credit lines from 200 to 1,000. So your utilization rate is this: the amount you owe divided by your high credit limit. So he owed $200 on a $200 high limit account. Yeah, he's maxed out. 100% utilization. Now he owes $200 on 1,000. He's at 20. He picked up. He went from it was like 560. He went to like a high 600s by doing he actually did 4 accounts.
You explained it a lot better than I could.
So thanks. So that's what, that's the trick of the day is don't close the installment accounts you can't really do anything with. I mean, you close a car, it's closed. Yeah. You paid off a car, it's closed. Credit cards. Right. Don't close them. Because you have a utilization rate on single accounts. Right. Then you have a utilization percentage on your whole credit profile. Right. So don't close any accounts. So, one last thing. I had an account. You said you'd punch the guy. So that's a joke. I had a guy call the other day, and I want to just say thanks to the guy for watching. Our YouTube business is killing it right now. So that's why we're trying to do also YouTube exclusives. But I had a gentleman call me the other day, and he said, "Dan, I got to pick your brain." I'm like, "Sure." He said, "I want an 800 credit score." I said, "Okay, so do I." But what is your score today? And he said 760.
I would have hung up. I'm kidding.
So 760, just so you guys know, here I kind of put it in perspective to the guy. I said, don't lose sleep over your credit score, because your credit score can technically change every day. It depends on if you charge something, when the data was pushed to the credit agencies or whatever. Yeah. But let me explain. I always try to tell people, I'll put this in the 4 buckets for you. Credit scores. And Jay will back me up on this one. When you're looking for, let's just say for a mortgage, for example, there's 5 buckets there, but let's just go make it simple. 4 buckets. 740 and above, you're basically maxed out. You ace the test. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you have a 740 or an 850. Your rate is the same. Yep. Okay, so 740 and above. So if you're at 741, God bless you. Don't freak out about anything. Sleep well. 720 to 739 is the next bucket down. So let's classify these as test grades. Now that's a B. Right. Okay, so still great, but you could do a little bit of work. The next category down is 700 to 719. It's a C. All right. Still great credit. You can get any kind of loan you want, and you probably get any kind of credit card you want. And then we'll just say D is under 700. Yeah. And why I say there's 5 is on FHA. It's basically 580 to 600 up there. So those are the credit scores. So if you're at 740 and above, God bless you. You're good. If you're under that, make it a goal. Make the next step up that you want 740. It's darn near, I won't say impossible. I've done this 31 years. How many times have you seen an 800 credit score?
Probably twice.
And you've been doing this?
About 10 years.
Yeah. So 30 years plus 10, 40 years in the business, we've probably seen it totaled 10 times, if that. So it's possible. Right. So you probably, you might achieve that. That's a goal to kind of work at. So that's it for now. So I greatly appreciate you guys watching.
Thank you very much, Dan, for having me on.
You betcha. We're going to make this a weekly segment. And please don't forget to give us a thumbs up.
Yes.
Click the subscribe button down below. Click the bell as well.
All that good stuff.
And so as we do alerts and we do posts, and I do a post every night, you'll get alerts to it. And what I want to ask you to do is please leave comments down below.
Please.
What do you want us to talk about? This isn't about us. And I don't want the show to be generic. Mm-hmm. I have 2 radio shows in Chicago. I try to make them, what's in this for you?
Right.
You know, one of the things I always say is the Dow Jones just hit a record high. Well, if you have no money in the stock market, do you care?
Who cares?
No. So help me help you make the information that we give relevant. So please comment down below. I promise you, I respond to every comment, and I'll also let you know when that show. We'll try to make a show on the comments that you leave. We'll try to make a show. I'll post it on YouTube, podcast, and I'll have a radio show for that, and I'll give you a link to that, any of the questions you have for us. So thank you. God bless. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you.
You've been listening to The Mortgage Update with Dan Frio. For over 30 years, Dan Frio has mastered the real estate market as one of the country's premier mortgage advisors. Call Dan today at 844-775-LOAN. That's 844-775-5626. Or online at thefrioteam.com.